Mirra Andreeva admitted even she was not sure how she managed to very dominantly win all of her Adelaide matches despite making slow starts. On Saturday, the third seeded Russian fell 0-3 behind to Victoria Mboko before storming back to win the final with a 6-3, 6-1 scoreline. In the Adelaide semi-final, Diana Shnaider opened a 3-0 lead against Andreeva, but the number 3 seed still easily won 6-3, 6-2. A round earlier, the 18-year-old Russian trailed 0-2 to Mary Boskova before completing a 6-3, 6-1 win. In total, the top-ranked Russian WTA player dropped only a total of 15 games. After becoming a champion in Adelaide, Andreeva was asked how she managed to turn around the situation against Mboko so quickly and win 12 of the last 13 games. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with this tournament, but it's like I start pretty slow here. Then I kind of tend to take the situation in my hands and just start playing more aggressive and start going for my shots more, the Russian said. But I did have opportunities in the beginning to break her right away. I could also take my serve, and it would have been 2-0 to me already, but also it's a game. When I had a break point on her serve, she hit an ace. Then she hit like a couple of winners as well. It just went her way, and there's nothing I can do about that. Yeah, after she broke me, then she served well. So it's basically she needed one break and now it's 3-0, so I just told myself to keep going and stick to the plan, and after all it worked. For Andreeva, winning Adelaide was certainly a major confidence booster ahead of the Australian Open. After astonishingly winning back-to-back WTA 1000 titles in Dubai and Indian Wells last spring, the 18-year-old struggled with the increased pressure and expectations. But now her title drought is officially over. Andreeva now heads to the Australian Open where she is the number 8 seed and plays against Paris Olympics silver medalist Donna Vekic in the first round. Andreeva reached back-to-back Australian Open round of 16 in her first two appearances at Melbourne Park. Australian Open opening ceremony brought legends to Rod Laver Arena on Saturday night. Returning to Melbourne for the first time in 6 years, Roger Federer enjoyed every moment of a thrilling contest. The six-time winner joined forces with Andre Agassi and Ashley Barty and battled against Patrick Rafter and Leighton Hewitt. The trio dropped the opener before earning a 2-4, 4-2, 4-2 victory in 70 minutes. There were no breaks in the opening 5 games and Roger served to lock the result at 3-all and introduce a tie break. However, Rafter and Hewitt returned well and grabbed a break after Agassi's terrible volley. The Aussies closed the opener after 22 minutes and moved in front. Andre drew Leighton's mistake in the third game of the second set to provide a break and send his team in front. The American lost an exchange with Patrick in the fourth game to lose serve and the advantage. The home players wasted the advantage in the fifth game and lost serve to fall 3-2 behind. Federer held at love in game 6, clinching the set for his squad and introducing a decider after 43 minutes. Ashley Barty replaced Agassi and outplayed Rafter with volleys in the third game to secure a break. She served well in the fourth game and sent Roger and herself 3-1 ahead. Federer served for the win at 3-2 and denied a break point with a service winner before landing a jumping smash winner on a match point to seal the deal in style. Danielle Collins thinks we could easily see Iga Swiatek pulling out of the Australian Open right at the start of the Happy Slam. The Pole, who is the number 2 seed at Melbourne Park, enters the tournament as one of the top favourites for the title. However, it is not a secret that Swiatek's form has not been ideal at the start of 2026. At the United Cup, the world number 2 just barely scraped past Avalis before beating Susan Lemons and Maya Joint. While the Polish tennis star managed to win her opening 3 matches, she did not impress against the tougher competition, as she was beaten by Coco Gauff and Belinda Bencic in her last 2 matches at the mixed team event. With that being said, Swiatek is heading into the Australian Open riding a 2-match losing streak. Collins, whose past tension with the Polish tennis star is well documented, is not competing at Melbourne Park this year, but works as an analyst for Tennis Channel. Name a top 10 seed that could be on upset alert in the first two rounds. The host asked. Collins. The 2022 Australian Open finalist responded. This is a tough one. I think it's probably no surprise to people that follow tennis, but I'm going to go with Swiatek. I was a little bit concerned with her performance at the United Cup. Two back-to-back losses, so I think there is a little bit of trouble in paradise for her right now. In the Australian Open first round, Swiatek plays against 130th ranked qualifier Yuan Yu. They played once in the past as the six-time Grand Slam champion demolished the Chinese 6-0, 6-3 in Beijing last year. If the Pole wins her Melbourne opener, she will face either world number 45, Mary Boskova, or 84th ranked Renata Zarazova in the second round. Swiatek has exited the Australian Open in the opening two rounds only once, in 2019 when she was beaten by Camila Giorgi in the second round. Naomi Osaka has a clear idea about how she plans to approach the Australian Open, as the former world number 1 intends to play more aggressively. After being unseeded at Melbourne Park in the last couple of Happy Slam tournament editions, the Japanese tennis star is the 16th seeded player this year. In round 1, Osaka, the 2019 and 2021 Australian Open champion, will clash against Antonia Ruzic for the first time in her career. It will be the first meeting between the 16th seeded Japanese and the 22-year-old rising Croatian star, who reached the Hobart semi-final this week. As you probably know, Osaka battled illness and coughed pretty badly during her season opener at the United Cup, where she lost to Greece's Maria Sakkari before beating British player Katie Swan. However, the 28-year-old has since recovered and she is aiming a deep Australian Open run. When I reflect on that match, I just think about how I could not breathe because I was coughing so much. Honestly, I just wanted to be more aggressive and kind of more assertive with my game. I feel like I think my defense is good now. I just want to play more aggressively, the four-time Grand Slam champion explained in her pre-tournament press conference. Osaka enjoyed major success at the Australian Open very early in her career, as she was 21 when she became a champion at Melbourne Park by beating Petra Kvitova in the 2019 final. 2 years later, the Japanese conquered the Happy Slam for the second time in her career after ousting Jennifer Brady in the title match. If the former world number 1 wants to win her third Australian Open title this year, she may need to beat multiple top players. It remains to be seen if Osaka's plan to be aggressive will work out on the court. Jessica Pegula has major respect for Aryna Sabalenka and admits she is hoping to get a win over the world number 1 at a Grand Slam tournament. Since establishing herself as one of the best players in the world in 2022, Pegula has had several meetings against Sabalenka on the biggest stage. While the American was pretty competitive in the majority of their matches, she still won only 3 of their 12 encounters. In 2024, Pegula made her first and lone Grand Slam final at the US Open, and it was Sabalenka who prevented the world number 6 from becoming a Grand Slam champion after beating the home star 7-5, 7-5 in the final at Flushing Meadows. Last year, Pegula and Sabalenka clashed 4 times. The American won their Wuhan semi-final meeting but fell short to the world number 1 in the Miami final, the US Open semi-final and their WTA finals match. Also, it is worthy mentioning that the Belarusian defeated the American in the final of the WTA 1000 tournament in Cincinnati in 2024. Reflecting on her rivalry with the world number 1 during her pre-tournament press conference at the Australian Open, Pegula stated that their matches feature a high level of tennis. Also, the 31-year-old admitted that the Belarusian pushes her to become a better player. Obviously, she has beaten me more times, but I think we tend to bring out some really good tennis in each other. You know, matchups like that just happen. It happens to be for me and Aryna. We tend to have some pretty crazy matches. Really high level, I have always thought, the world number 6 said. It is fun. She challenges me, pushes me to figure out how to become better. I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what I try to take away from some of the tough matches. Even though I feel like I have had some chances to win them, and beating her on a bigger stage would be something that I am trying to strive for, especially at big tournaments. Pegula and Sabalenka landed in the opposite sides of the Australian Open. So for the American to possibly meet the Belarusian, she will need to reach her first final at Melbourne Park. Mirra Andreeva admitted that playing against Diana Shnaider was a mind game, as she tried to force herself into thinking that the elder Russian was not my friend and just a stranger. Andreeva 18 and 22-year-old Schneider have a great relationship and they won the silver medal in women's doubles in their Olympic debut in Paris 2 years ago. On Friday, the two Russian players met in singles for the first time since 2024 Brisbane, and the younger Russian, who is seated at number 3 at the Adelaide International, completed a 6-3, 6-2 semi-final win. However, it was not as easy for Andreeva as some might think, since Schneider was the one who went 3-1 up early. After a bit slow start to the match, the number 3 seed found her rhythm and took 11 of the next 13 games to still get the job done in 2 sets. Speaking with reporters in her post-match press conference, Andreeva admitted that it was very tricky to play against Schneider because they knew each other's games perfectly. I feel like in the beginning I was also trying to do something that she would not expect me to do, something that's not really my game. So it's more a little bit like to force yourself to play like you usually play against any opponent on the WTA circuit. In the beginning I struggled with that a little bit, the 18-year-old explained. Then, after I was throughout the whole match, I was trying to think that, she's not my friend. I don't know who she is. She's just a stranger. I have no idea who I'm playing against, and I was just focusing on the ball that was coming from the other side.